Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining. So today I want to do a video to talk about some of the kind of rip-offs that happen when you go to an automotive service department, a dealer service department. And this happened a couple weeks ago, and this is my wife's 2010 Volkswagen Golf. It's got a 2.5 liter 5-cylinder engine, and the EPC light came on recently. Now this is a little different from the regular engine light that comes on, which you can plug in a regular code reader and you can see what the problem is. But the EPC is a little more complicated, and it's not really that straightforward on what the problem is. So I went down to the local gas station to see if they could diagnose it, and they kind of work on Toyotas, and unless it's a German auto repair facility or European auto facility, they really couldn't do it, and a lot of places can't. So I took it to the dealer, I made an appointment, and I brought the car the night before to make sure that they got to it the next day and they had enough time to fix it, because the day we brought it was the only day that my wife could take time off of work to make sure that it got done. So we went to the dealer, and they called us back a few hours later, and they said that there were a couple of problems with it. And I said, okay, what are the problems? Let me know what they are specifically. And here's what they said. They gave us an engine diagnosis readout. So there are basically two little problems that were plaguing our little car. And by the way, this car has 95,000 miles on it right now. Number one, they said, was the engine, the ignition distributor engine speed input circuit. And I said, well, what specifically is wrong? Because, you know, again, just looking this up on the internet and on forums, that isn't in itself a problem. It's the circuit, which means it could be one of the sensors that go to the distributor engine speed input circuit or input module. And it could be faulty wiring. It could be a couple of things that are kind of main culprits. It could be the camshaft position sensor or the crankshaft position sensor. Now, if it's the camshaft position sensor, that sensor is right on top of the engine. So you basically just take the engine cover off and you can get to it. There are a couple of screws or bolts, and it unplugs. You can take it off and you can repair it real easily. The crankshaft position sensor, however, is underneath the car, and you have to kind of, jack up the car or crawl under it, and you have to remove it from down below, and you've got to undo the wiring and unplug it, and that's a little more expensive to fix. So in any event, I really pressed them and said, I need to know exactly what's wrong with the car. And by the way, before I even spoke to any of the service advisors, I made sure and had someone that had been there a while, someone that was experienced. So it was an older gentleman, and when I say older, not that old, middle-aged, and he had been there a while. But again, he couldn't tell me exactly what the problem was, if it was wiring, if they thought that it was one of these sensors, or if they were going to just start replacing things. So I asked them, and they came back 2 or 3 times and said, okay, yeah. I said, is it the crankshaft? Is it the camshaft position sensor? He said, yeah, it's the camshaft. And I don't think he knew what he was talking about. So I pressed him, and when we got in touch again about an hour later, he gave me the part number. And sure enough, it was the crankshaft position sensor, which was underneath. He said that would cost $800 to fix. And then there was a second problem with the vehicle, and that was the manifold absolute pressure sensor. And I said, are you talking about the map sensor? And he said, yeah, that's it. That needs to be replaced too. And that'll be $900 for a total of $1,700 in all. And I said, now wait a minute. From what I know about these cars, the map sensor shouldn't cause the EPC light to go off. As a matter of fact, I've had the regular engine light go off and say that there was a problem with that. And I just got some map sensor cleaner and sprayed it in there, and that took care of it. So he then said, oh, well, that has nothing to do with the EPC light going on, but that's something that we kind of need to fix too. And I said, no, forget that for now. Just fix the crankshaft position sensor. So I said, go ahead and fix it for the $800. But by this time, he said, oh, the mechanic's working on something else, so they're not going to be able to get to it. You'll have to leave it overnight. I said, hey, I told you I could only do it today. My wife needs the car the rest of the week. So I said, how about Saturday? We'll bring it in. No, we're booked Saturday. So now, you know, what am I to do? So I brought it back to the local gas station and I said, hey, this is what the problem is. It's the crankshaft position sensor. He looked it up, the same video I saw on YouTube. He said, yeah, we can fix that. Part and labor, $170, and that was it. That fixed the problem. If I were the average person that wasn't a car guy, that didn't know any better, I would have spent $1,700 to fix what cost $170 to fix. So again, it's just, you have to know something about cars. If they tell you there's a problem, you got to dig in. You got to have them give specifics on what the problem is. Otherwise, they're going to take you to the cleaner, unfortunately. So again, just a little tip for this, again, particular vehicle. The EPC light went off. That's what the problem was. It was the crankshaft position sensor. And knowing that, the local service station could fix it for $170. I think it was $50 for the part, and the rest was labor. The Volkswagen dealer, I think, would have charged $200 for the part, for the official Volkswagen, the Volkswagen part, and then their labor rates, which are really, really high. So again, just a little tip. I hope this helps. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and also like this video. Those things really help a lot. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.